we're contemplating switching our Tarot Delights for those of you that watch it live on Wednesday evenings. Yeah, so we're thinking about doing that just to give you a heads up on that sort of thing. And today, since it is tomorrow's the last day of school.
Yes, it is.
It's always I loved school as a kid, but I loved the last day. There was something freeing about it. Like,
Well, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Well, because I feel like some of the teachers are more strict than some of the parents.
Right.
And vice versa, some of the parents are more strict than some of the teachers.
Right.
So you get that, like, interesting balance, and then eventually the teachers are like, we're going to tap you in, and the parents, it's your turn. Have fun.
Well, and I had this weird thing, so I'm a weird kid, but I would come
Fine.
home
Yeah.
from like you clear out your desk, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, this was before iPads and all this kind of stuff. So there was a lot of handwritten notes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I would clear out my desk, take all my notes home, everything. And then I would sort through my notes and I would copy them. And then I would teach school over summer to anyone that would play
That
school
is
with me.
amazing. So I love watching this process happen at school because, so for example, one of the kids that I've been working closely with, we had his desk cleaned out in like 3 minutes because
Oh, okay.
basically everything that he'd been drawing for the past like 6 months went home.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you drew that today? You want to show mom? Sounds good. So it went home that day.
Right.
So there was nothing really to accumulate outside of like what was supposed to be there.
Oh,
So I
okay.
literally grabbed what was supposed to be there. This is all going home. Yep. Backpack. Done. and then other kids, oh my God, it was hilarious. Mountains going
Yeah.
to the recycling bin.
Oh, I had mountains that would come home with me.
Oh yeah, no. They're like, I was like, are you sure you don't want any of that? Nope.
I probably should have been a teacher because I would spend the whole summer teaching classes. And I had a great aunt who was also a teacher, and she had this little room, and I loved it. It was like a little closet, right?
Yeah.
And when she retired, she had all these exercise books, pencils, she had erasers, she had like crayons.
Because you
I
always have
loved that.
extras for your children.
Yeah, you
at
always
work.
have extras.
Yep.
So every time I went, I was allowed to pick one thing out of the closet, right? So I would add it to my school stash of when I taught school. And I would literally teach real lessons to my younger brothers and sisters, to my Shannon was a girl that lived next door to me. She was my best friend at the time. I would teach her.
Yeah. I mean, we still technically teach. Because
That's true.
You've taught tarot.
That's
You're
true.
working on another course.
Yeah.
Heap was a course you've done, and
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Oh, thank
Bloom
you.
was another session
Yeah.
type course.
Yeah.
So you really are a teacher.
I guess I am. I guess I am. Yes, just in a different, not
It's
in the
a different way.
I
It's not,
thought.
it's not the traditional. It's not like you don't get to spend 6 hours with the same people.
Yeah.
But you're still teaching things.
Yeah, yeah, true. And you and I both said this in readings of it's not going to come in the way you thought.
No.
Right? Like, don't expect your dreams always to come the way you think they're supposed to happen. Because sometimes the universe gives you something better.
Oh, that's a whole podcast in and of itself. We could
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
Because honestly, how I literally, when I graduated high school, was like, yep, I'm going to be a teacher. And then life kind of took me on a detour.
Yeah.
And I'm still in a classroom. Not in like a official teaching capacity.
No.
But I'm in a classroom and I'm helping these kids learn every day.
Yeah.
So that essentially is teaching to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're an important part of the teaching structure.
Yep.
You know, because without you, your person would not learn.
No. I mean, there's questions on whether they learn normally anyway. Like
They learn something.
consistently, I
Yes.
should say, not normally.
Life skills are sometimes better than
well, and that's
knowing
it.
your arithmetic.
So
or
I find it
your
really
3 Rs.
interesting some of the things that they're bringing back or taking away or like whatever because so like when we were in school, computer lab was a thing.
Oh yeah, I remember computer lab. Yep.
Now they have no, not every class has Chromebooks. So I'm in a younger grade, so we don't necessarily have.
But now you don't learn computer programming. Like when you had computer lab, what we were learning was how to program a computer.
In high school, yes. But
Yes.
in grade school, we were learning how to type.
Oh, I didn't even see a computer till high school.
Okay, so that again, age difference.
Yeah.
But that's again interesting too because you're right. In high school, because I did take a couple of computer classes because there was business and then computers. like we were taught how to rip a computer apart and put it back together.
Oh,
If we ever needed to do like
okay.
a small
That would have
level.
been a good thing to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, the first computer class that was ever offered to me was in grade 10.
Okay.
And it was like basically you learned how to do the zigzag of your name across the screen.
Yes. I
The
remember
other
that.
thing we had a lot of fun with at our school was our computer teacher was 90 years old. Like she was ancient. And it was like,
It's like,
how
I'm gonna
does
still
she
teach this? Yeah.
how does she know about computers?
Oh, I've had a couple subs. You're like, how are you? How?
Yeah, yeah.
As
and
a
a lot
kid.
of the boys in the class were into computers,
Yeah.
of course, and they knew how to take apart a computer and could put it back together. She did not know how to do this. And so it was the very, very, very first year of computers even being taught in the school.
Well, I find it really interesting because one of the kids let's do today. So again, last week of school, there's not a lot of like academics going on.
Yeah,
but there's
academics
still.
out the window.
Well, I mean, report cards went home today.
Yeah, so,
what are we testing on?
Yeah, you're not failing anything now.
I don't know.
I mean, you are if you are failing, but you already know you're
Yeah,
failing.
you already
So
know
what
you're
difference
failing.
does it make?
So as a younger class, we went into a slightly older class, and they were showing us computer games that they had coded. So like it was
Oh.
a simple like coding strip of game, but it
Okay.
was something that they had been taught how to do and prompted.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was really cool to watch the younger kids play what the bigger kids had made.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, so it's a fun time of year. So we thought for tarot we would talk about the endings that are in tarot, and of course endings always bring new beginnings because as much as the last day of school is so much fun and it's exciting because now we're free of the teachers and
Everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But come fall, it's a new beginning. And for some people, like if you're graduating from kindergarten, maybe you're going into grade school now. If you're graduating from grade 8, you're going into high school. If you're graduating from high school, maybe you've got a lot of options open to you about college, university. Do you want to take a victory lap? Do you want to work for a year? Do you want to travel for a year? All these options open up to you as you get older.
Don't quote me,
Okay.
but at one point there wasn't an option for a victory lap. Because I remember when I took it, so when I was, so I'm trying to figure this out. So mom had OAC mandated, and then between my mom and I, they had gotten rid of OAC, which is grade 13.
Yeah.
They
I was the last grade 13 in Ontario, and I did a victory lap, but my victory lap was OAC.
Okay, yeah. So at one point they were optional. You could stay for the 5th year, and then they actually got rid of it. I think I was one of the last ones
So
that you could victory lap.
so right now in grade 12, if you
don't-
graduate, you can't do it.
I don't think you can victory lap unless there's extenuating circumstances. Because I
Oh,
remember.
because I did it because I just wanted to have extra credits.
Well,
I was hoping
and
to
it's
up
honestly,
a
like-
math credit, and I did not.
Yeah, I had the same experience, but not with math. I got my grade 12 math out of the way and was like, peace out, never doing that again.
I got rid of science in grade 11 when you were allowed to drop it.
Yeah.
I should have dropped math. I thought math was going to be easier.
No. No. I mean, well, and I
They're
was
all
looking-
important, kids.
Oh, they really
They're
are.
all important.
As we discuss it. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't used that since high school. Well, I was looking at, just because it was on the fridge in plain sight, it was the requirements to graduate. So they still have the, 40 hours community service.
Okay.
They still have the,
I like that.
grade 9 math test. They have a grade 9 math test and a grade 10 literacy test, but they've actually added a financial component, like a financial literacy component. And if you
Oh.
don't pass that, you don't get your diploma.
Really?
Yeah, I was reading that because my niece is going into grade.
A lot of us could have used that.
Right. I would have learned the lessons not through mistakes.
Yeah. The hard knock life of
Yeah.
education
But I mean,
that way.
sometimes you have to go through. Like Josh, my husband, he's adorable, but he's very much a unless you figure it out yourself, you're not gonna choose the right path.
Oh, okay. Right.
So I have a tendency to no, I want to do it this way. He's like, yes, but this is easier. And I'm like, no, over here it's fine. And then eventually I'm like, yeah, that would have been easier, right? He's like,
But sometimes, no, your way is right.
Yep.
You're not always wrong.
No. Just whether or not it's easy for you or not.
Yeah, and sometimes you're supposed to do the harder way.
You learn something out of it. Some days I'm still wondering what some of those.
Yeah. Some days, yeah, you're right. Like, what's the lesson here? Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
2 3/4 of the way through a 4-year degree. Why? Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
Use it every day.
Exactly.
Every
So I
single
thought
day.
we'd start with the major arcana.
Ooh, I like that idea.
So the Fool, of course, is it's sort of a beginning and an ending, right? Because he's in your ultimate guide to tarot. He's the number 22 as well as numberless.
Oh, see, I keep forgetting he's 22 because everyone puts him at the beginning as 0.
Yeah, and he is 0, technically. He's got 0 on him. And technically, he is the only numberless card. But he also, in some books, has been seen as the master number, which is what we become
That's interesting.
when we've gone through all the journey of the arcana of learning the lessons that we're supposed to become the masters. Now, of course, death is the ultimate ending. Right?
But is it the ultimate ending and the ultimate rebirth too?
Oh yeah, it's both. It's very much like the Fool that way. It is a transition, but I mean, in this plane, death is definitely final. We can be a fool over and over and over again, but death, once it comes, that's it. We're done.
on this life anyway.
Exactly. Now, the other card I've got is the Hermit card
Oh, the Hermit! I love that card.
because he's the number 9.
Which is almost at ending.
Which is an ending. 9 is an ending. 10 is an ending with a gift. So that's the differentiation between the two. So the Hermit is just he is very much like he just knows because he's learned. It's an ending. His ending is coming back into the world to shed light for others to know that they're not alone in their journey, their suffering, their whatever it might be. And he's here to sort of help lessen the weight of whatever someone might be bearing. So he brings a lot of experience. He or she, it's fluid in tarot, The other one I had was, the Tower's kind of an ending.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's a definite abrupt way of changing courses.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not supposed to go over here. Slam. You're supposed to go over there.
You didn't listen. I've had a couple tower moments.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
realize they were tower moments at the time.
Yeah, I've had a few tower moments. A couple of them have been very abrupt and very, okay, this is a tower moment. And a couple of them have been like, I did not realize until after I had the pity party that it was an ending. Now I don't have number 10 here. What's number 10 again?
Kind of what?
Major arcana. I have judgment because it's 20. So it's 2 10s, right? Because it's 2 10s, 2 X's in the Roman numerals. And judgment can be a bit of an ending and a beginning too. Because judgment, when it comes up, a lot of people kind of get a little like, oh, am I being judged? But I always say this is the Archangel Gabriel. And he's the one that, according to the Bible stories, is the one that will trumpet the souls of the dead into heaven at the last day of Judgment Day, kind of thing. But you can't get to heaven unless you've made the right decisions. So this is not you being judged. This is a clarification card that says you are on the right path. You are making the right decisions. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition. Trust the messages or signs that you're seeing. This is not your being judged. This is you are where you are supposed to be, and things are unraveling for you divinely in the way that they're supposed to. Did you find 10?
The wheel.
It's the wheel. Of course, that makes sense. Okay, the wheel.
The funny thing is, though, is like, I should know this.
Yes, I know, right? I know them up to a certain extent, and then I just lose myself sometimes. So the Wheel of Fortune can be a really good ending or a really bad ending.
All depends on what is being drawn around it.
Yes, exactly. And what the circumstances are around it. If you've ever played or seen the game show with Pat Sajak.
The Wheel of Fortune.
The Wheel of Fortune. You can hit bankrupt or you can hit $10,000 a letter.
All right.
There.
I have like the labyrinth.
Oh, that's cool. The labyrinth.
Like a
A labyrinth. Yeah,
yeah.
labyrinth's very good for meditation. You know how to get out of a labyrinth? You pick a side, left or right. Touch the right wall, and you just follow the right wall until you're out.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
a D&D secret.
That is a D&D secret.
It always gets you out of mazes and labyrinths. Labyrinths and mazes, by the way, are two separate things, not the same thing at all. And then, of course, we have the world.
Ooh, the world. Yep.
That's definitely a great beginning, right? You got the world at your feet. The world is your oyster. All these colloquialisms and sayings about how great the world is. And we often say when we're down and out, stop the world from spinning. I need to get off. You know, 'cause you just,
That doesn't always work.
no, it rarely does. But I remember like one of the big things when my mother passed, because she passed very suddenly, it was of an aneurysm. So I really felt like the world stopped. And it's weird when you go through something like that because you look around you and you start to see people doing their regular mundane things.
You're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, like how are you still having your coffee? How are you still driving to work? How are you listening to music and enjoying it? And because I'm hurting here, like you feel very like so much focus is put on you, but it's not. You know, it's a very weird feeling, especially with something big like that, right? Where it's like, how does no one else see and
What's
feel
going
what
on?
I'm feeling because it's so deep and it's so big and it's so overwhelming. I don't know how this happens, right? And it's often with like a big tragedy or a big death or something like that. And a parent dying is definitely a big death. And I don't care how old you are, whether you're 5 years old or 75 years old, you're still going to cry when your mom dies, or your dad dies, or whatever kind of thing, right? You're going to love one of them. I know people out there are saying, oh, I can't stand my mother, or I hate my father, or whatever. The world's a little bit different when they're not in it, even if you don't get along with them. And I get, like, of course, there's abusive situations, which, no, you should not be going back to. And hopefully you get protection and help with all of that. But at the same time, the world is different when the people that helped create you and bring you into this life are not on this plane anymore, whether it's for good or bad.
That's the world.
That's the world. Oh, she's not blind.
No.
Her blindfold is off. What's funny though is like what's beautiful. This is what deck is this?
Under the oak tree.
Under the oak tree. So
Oh, sorry, under the oak tarot.
under the
Not
oak
tree.
tarot. Under the you love trees, so of course you're gonna throw a tree in there. Of course, oak is a tree. So,
Yep.
But what's kind of cool you were showing me is this little girl is going through all the major arcana and she's involved in all the cards, and she's blindfolded.
So if you look at the Fool, where she's blindfolded versus the world.
Yeah, but it's our experience as humans, right? And we often go through life with a blindfold, often purposely there. Like we're like, oh no, I could do this. Let me put my blindfold on and stumble bum my way through it. Yeah, sometimes it's accidentally there. Sometimes it's purposely there.
Sometimes we don't realize we've done it to ourselves.
Yeah, sometimes we're like, why is it so dark in here? I don't understand. And we're not the brightest creatures sometimes walking the planet.
Well, what I find really interesting too is like, we talk a lot about tarot and like our like journey through life and the archetypes and things like that. But when it comes to, and I know I'm going to use, I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I know it's been given a different name depending on what culture you've learned it from, because I know it exists somewhere else too. Actually, there was a recent development I saw. There was a post about that, and if you're sitting in survival mode, that's all you're gonna do. You're just gonna work from there and just get to the next day. But once you reach a certain point where you don't feel like the tiger is chasing you every single day anymore, and you're not in your fight or flight all the time, there will be other things you can kind of open up to. One thing is like spirituality and tarot and things like that, and you can kind of go back and re-examine and reevaluate and figure things out from a different perspective, because you've learned from being in fight or flight, and you've learned that living there isn't the greatest thing to stay.
That's a very, very profound thing, first of all. And it's not a one and done.
No.
It's also not a weekend and done, or even a year and done. I mean, everyone has their own journey and their own pace and all that kind of stuff. But I have been there. You've heard my story where I was dancing with suicide, and I would X off a day. And I would say my only deal for that day was that I wasn't going to kill myself. I could do it tomorrow. And I kept that pact with myself for a few months. And then also in my story, I say how I don't know what day it happened where I didn't need to X off that day. And I didn't need to, just survive for that day. I started making plans, because when you're in survival mode, you can't even, make a decision on what you're going to have for lunch, kind of thing. Everything sort of happens in the now, but not in a positive way. Like I know a lot of people like, live in the now, and that's all well and good. That's great. But when you're in survival mode, you're living in the now in a negative way. And you're not able to make plans. You're not able to have insights or foresight or any of the sights. And and it's and then of course it was decades after that of examining and re-examining and getting myself to this place. So it can be a very long journey for some, not always for everyone, but I wouldn't say it's like a 3-day weekend or anything.
No, and I think there are lessons to be had from, like, if you do like a weekend retreat or whatever.
Oh, and I did lots of those.
Yeah, they're great.
They are
But
great.
there are little lessons that happen, but sometimes you have to spiral with those lessons, that you learn them once and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, I'm gonna use it. And then you, like, it's like peeling back that onion layer, and you learn something different about that same lesson, or it's impacted you differently after you've had time to sit with it. So it's really, that's what I love about learning new concepts. Not that I'm constantly trying to upgrade things. We were talking about
Yeah,
perpetually
get
in your
stuck
own
in
little
the upgrade.
space. Yeah, stuck in the upgrade headspace.
Yeah.
But it can be useful for uncovering certain things about your shadow, or some things about yourself that you're just not 100% with, and you're still trying to figure out, and that's okay.
Yeah. And as long as you feel like you're growing, I think that's always a good thing, right? And life is a dance, right? You're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and allow that to happen. It doesn't always have to be always forward steps. Sometimes we need to step back and go, okay, I need to take a beat and, take in what's going on here, process it, and then I can take a step sideways sometimes and, wiggle my bum and
Make it fun.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, try to make it an enjoyable journey, even with the bad stuff. And I'm not saying light and love and unicorns and lollipops, but
Sorry, unicorns and lollipops always cracks me up. No, like, we're human. We have that human experience. We're gonna take the good with the bad. There's not always gonna be like love and light. There's gonna be that shadow aspect too.
Exactly. And happiness doesn't last forever, but neither does misery.
Exactly.
And just embrace the change as it comes. Don't always try to force it, because sometimes we micromanage our own projects to death because we're trying to make that change happen, and we're not doing it in a positive way. We're trying to put a square nail into a round hole, or whatever it is, a round nail into a square hole. I can't remember what it is. Something about pounding nails. Don't do it so hard if it's not going to fit.
I love our chat.
Oh my goodness. Now, as we were talking about, 9 is a natural ending, as I like to call them.
Okay.
So they're nice, quiet endings. So these are the suits. So this is the 9 of Pentacles. You can see it's a girl with a money bush that she's not having to even tend to. It just blooms money for her. There's a guy
Can
ready
we get there?
I know, right? I'm like, I want to be in her backyard. And then I want to party with this guy.
Yes.
He's got 9 cups. He's ready to celebrate something. And this is very fitting, especially during graduation season, because a lot of people are taking their kids out for dinners and buying them stuff for their graduations. And then we've got the Nine of Wands, which it looks like a battle is over. And I always say this guy who's the leader, who's been the hero of the battle, is bowing to his queen, because why would he bow to anybody else? And then the Nine of Swords. For me, Nine of Swords feels like a relief card, because it's a woman who's sitting up, obviously looking worried. She's got 9 swords sort of hanging over her head. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what's cool in this deck is in the old one that I had, the owl was sitting on the windowsill.
Oh,
the
that's
owl
interesting.
swooping in. And the owl is the solution to the problem, or the overcoming of the stress, you know, because like I said, it feels like a relief card, like the stress is almost over. Whatever's been spinning up in your mind, you know, what you've been clenching your jaw at night about, that's about to end, which is always a nice thing. It's like, oh, okay, phew, done, which is always nice. So 9s are that nice, quiet, just things are ending, the stress is over, the school is done, you've won the graduation. Or, well, one client was in talking about, you know, she was at the Queen's nursing graduation party, and they got their pins after,
That's
you know,
important.
5 years or 4 years of school.
Yep.
It's a hard course. So, and then you get this pin and your diploma and, you know, and your degree or whatever. And that's always like, okay, it was worth that, you know.
Well, I like the idea of pins, so I was trying to think of like something tangible to look at, something small. Mm-hmm. And you realize you rose to the occasion and rose to those challenges and like passed everything, and you are deserving of
Yeah.
that. Like, that is a good way to do it.
Yeah,
And I think
love that.
it's also like an alumni thing too, because we joke. I graduated from St. Lawrence College, so we call ours. It's supposed to be like the waves of the St. Lawrence.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We call them bacon strips.
I can see that.
Right? Like, it's just a funny joke. We don't refer to them in like official capacities in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Then we'll get in trouble. But it's kind of cool to see how that little alumni pin, mine sits in my office somewhere.
I got my bacon strips.
Got my bacon strips. I went through 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. It's a long 4 years.
Oh, is it ever?
Lots of sleepless nights, lots of worrying, lots of stress.
Wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't so many group projects.
Yeah. But, you know, it's nice to know you had the discipline to, like you say, rise to the occasion, to learn to work with others, to learn the subject at hand, and come out informed and able to, you know, employ yourself or whatever. You know, that's the theory.
Boy, it
anyways.
was a bit of a stretch at first.
I know, they promise you great things. And
They
then,
do, and then you're just like, oh, no, none of this is coming? Okay.
Yeah, they'll take you as a placement student, no problem.
That's because they don't have to pay for you.
Exactly.
Once as soon as they have to pay you, they're like, oh.
Well, when I had my spa, we would always get at least one student from the aesthetics program, and the girls loved it because that was the week that they would all get spa services. I'm like, the students coming, pick out the services you want, because and the students loved my spa because they actually did actual spa services, even though it was on the girls that worked there, the ladies that worked there. They got hands-on experience, because a lot of people would go to a spa salon and spend the week sweeping hair.
Well,
You
and
know,
that's it, because, like, I know you have to, like, pay your dues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I did like about our placements. Like, we got down and dirty in the work.
Yeah, because I was a firm believer in experience. Like, actually doing it makes you learn it, right?
Oh, 100%. Now, were there things that we had to wait on as far as, like, because, like, with ours, we're behavioral. So, and I don't know if you do this anymore, because the way, at least in my program specifically, they've governed things differently now.
Oh, okay.
So when I was going through, I had a supervisor, actually two. I had a placement supervisor and a college supervisor, and then an ethics board if I was doing like changing behavior, like say.
Well, yeah, the ethics really plays into what you were doing.
Yeah. And making sure we were all above board on that. But I know they've changed it so that the like behavioral analyst or behavioral therapist, I might be behavioral therapist, is now a regulated term. So like, even though I have the degree, if I wanted to work as a behavioral therapist, I now need to go and take an additional course.
Oh, okay.
in order to be qualified to work in Ontario
Oh.
and be able to call myself a behavioral therapist.
Oh, okay.
So it's
okay.
but it's been 10 years coming. Like I remember the profs planted the seeds for this like while I was there, and that was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Or
yeah.
even before then. So
Right,
like
right.
it's good to see because everything should be above board and everything. And
Yeah,
like,
of course.
but it's interesting to see how things have changed and grown.
Yeah, and I mean any, field you go into is always going to change, grow,
100%.
advance
Yep.
in some way, like even the way, they do McDonald's these days is totally different from when I was 13
Oh my
and
gosh.
working there.
Even the digital screen. So I did a small stint in food service, and it wasn't McDonald's, even though McDonald's does run a tight ship. I've heard
It does.
I've-
It's got some of the best training programs.
Yeah, I've heard from friends who have worked there. They're like, if you want to start off well, start with a McDonald's. And ours used to be a clock with a timer, and now they're like digitized, and like each car has its own timer, and then there's a screen of
Oh.
like that's just from what I see from the drive-through. And
Okay,
it's like it's
okay.
really interesting to see the
Meanwhile, we had a pad with the menu on it with a pencil, golf pencil, in case the computers went down.
Yep.
Because they were so brand new when I first started McDonald's. Just showing you the difference there. And we had to memorize all the prices in case the computers went down.
Oh my gosh.
We'd have to, physically do the
See,
math.
there would
of-
be so like I did a stint in Tim Hortons for a number of years,
Yeah.
just while I was going to like tail into high school and into college, and like there'd be things I'd memorize because I'd rung it in so many times.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But like I wasn't forced outside of like working the bar and knowing like what sandwiches belong together on what like ingredients.
Yeah.
I wasn't forced to memorize things like that.
Yeah,
It
we
just
had to
kind of
memorize.
happened.
We had a test on it and the whole nine. It was a big thing.
Oh yeah, we had a sandwich test.
If you ever watch SpongeBob SquarePants, the training video he gets for Krabby Patty is the McDonald's training, basically.
I love it. So that reminds me. So Catherine did Best Buy when I was there.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, did she ever tell you about the training videos?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so.
I cackled because I'm pretty sure they were 3 steps away from being like copyright infringement.
Oh, really?
Because they were like off-brand Star Wars.
Oh.
An off-brand like zombie chase theme or whatever.
my gosh.
To explain these different concepts.
illustrate
yeah,
things.
and illustrate things. I found it hilarious. My husband or boyfriend at the time was like, yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
He did one day of training. It was like not gonna happen.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No. My sister and I, one of my sisters, I have 3 of them. One of my sisters worked at McDonald's as well. And so she went through the same training program.
Nice.
And like you said, it's a tight program. It's very good. Like if you mention that to any other, business,
Employer, yeah.
they'll pretty much hire you because they know you're well trained. And she's the one that told me, have you seen the SpongeBob Krabby Patty training video? You can look it up on YouTube, and it is like almost verbatim. One of the videos you see is a McDonald's employee.
Now I want to go do that when I get home. I love how like little things in life just kind of like fit back together.
Exactly.
So like someone who wrote for SpongeBob or animated for SpongeBob
obviously,
like,
worked at McDonald's too.
found their way to McDonald's at one point.
Because McDonald's has its own language. You're not allowed to call a garbage bin a garbage bin. You call it some tower thing. I can't remember now.
Okay.
And the grease pots that they would use to back before they did the magic drawers that make the patties, they would flip them and stuff, but you had to put grease on it, and they were called honey pots.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a whole language of different
It's like
things.
a subgenre at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
People who didn't work there have no idea.
No idea
Me
what
being
we
one
had.
of them.
There was a special. The butler was the broom and the dustpan.
The butler! I mean, I get it.
We weren't supposed to say anything about cleaning and trash in the words. Like,
Okay, well, I get it with the connotation of cleaning and trash and like, yeah.
you don't want that around food. So
You don't
yeah.
know food. I get it.
But the time for leaning is the time for cleaning.
Yep.
That was the big saying. For
One of my
everybody that said that got that from McDonald's.
Well, not even that. Like there was I don't remember what supervisor it was. It was one of my stints in Tim Hortons. I did about 3, just between 2 cities and everything. One of my supervisors was like, "Hey, here's a cloth. name it, don't lose it. It's your friend for the shift. And that's how we would clean the whole store.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, obviously, if we were changing from, like, cleaning the garbage cans, we wouldn't go, like, wash the dishwasher.
Yeah.
But, like, we would
Cleaning
have
up
a
the coffee pot.
Yeah, we would have a list of things that needed to be done, and she'd each hand us a cloth and go, "These are your 3. These are your 3. Like, let's get them done."
Okay.
And it was really rather efficient. But the whole if you have time to clean, you have time to clean.
Yeah.
Forever ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, moving on to endings again, we've got the 10s now. So the 10s of each suit. And they usually look fairly nice. There's 2 that are sort of not so nice and 2 that are very nice.
Visually not dopamine.
Exactly. Now, the one that everyone loves is the 10 of Pentacles, because who doesn't love a chest full of money, right? And the beauty of 10s is they are an ending as well. Like I said earlier, 9s are a nice, quiet, soft, gentle, natural kind of ending. 10s, I love getting this in a spread, because a lot of times it means sort of pick an extra card, because 10s are an ending with a gift. So there's a big gift that comes your way. Now, another 10 that looks nice is the 10 of Cups, because it's 2 women enjoying a lovely sunny day by the water.
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah, and they're crocheting or crafting in some way. There's rainbows, and there's honeybees, and there's 10 golden cups. Who doesn't like that? Now, the other 10s are kind of like the 9 that I said was a relief, the 9 of Swords. So this is the 9 of Wands, and this guy's been carrying this bundle for quite some time. So I find a lot of times this shows up when someone's been carrying a lot of weight on their shoulders, a lot of stress, a lot of worry, that sort of thing. But the hope and the gift of this card is that you're about to put it down, and there's about to be peace, because you can see here there's 3 deer.
Oh, yes.
And deer always indicate a time of peace, because if you've ever seen a deer out in the woods, you go, and you hold your breath for a second.
Because you're like, are you going to dart away, or are you going to
Yeah.
let me look at you for a minute?
And you're just in awe in that moment, and it's just so serene and peaceful and just lovely, right? So that the 3 deer showing up, and 3 of course is a very mystical, magical number, usually means that you're about to put that stress or worry down. Things are going to get better. You're going to have a time of peace, a moment of peace. Enjoy it. Yeah, the 10 of Swords. In the regular RWS cards, the swords, I believe, are in his back.
Yep. They 100% are.
These ones are at least floating above his back. Now, it doesn't look good. It usually means the person's tired, exhausted. A lot of times these represent gossiping tongues. Truths have not been said about you. Lies have been said. And, you're feeling tired because it's sort of like, don't let the bastards get you down kind of thing.
Well, I find it interesting, and I've been diving into the runes a little more, and I need to spend some time with this deck, because the swords have runes on, the suit of swords have runes, and this is the 10.
Oh, okay.
So it's like less like negatively shocking, because she doesn't have 10 swords sticking out of her.
Yeah, she's opened up her blindfold.
She's opened up the blindfold, and she's continuing on the journey. And I wonder...
Because 10 of Swords often means the truth will be revealed too, right? So yeah, so that's awesome. I love that.
No, that's what kind of drew me, was the... I'm like, why do the swords have the runes? Why
Right.
doesn't all the decks have the
Right.
runes? All the cards have the runes.
Now I do like too that there's poppies
Yes, that is really
starting to bloom. So, life is starting over again and starting up. Also, poppies to me, of course, being the fairy tale enthusiast that I am, poppies are the flowers in the field when the lion falls asleep. And it has to snow, and there's mountains with snow in here.
In
So-
order for them to wake.
in order for them to wake up, because of course Dorothy and the lion fall asleep. The Tin Man gets rusted, but the Scarecrow doesn't, because he's not human yet.
He needs a brain first.
He needs a brain. So he's the only one that can kind of help them, get up and wake up and all that kind
It's
of
not a
stuff.
good idea, guys.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah, but I'm so tired, as the Cowardly Lion says.
Oh my gosh, let's put him up. Put him up. Is that where people got that from?
Yeah.
Now that's coming back to me.
I'm king of the forest.
Have you seen Wicked yet?
Oh, I saw it as a play. I haven't seen it as the movie.
I'm so jealous.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love to see it as the play.
Yeah, it
movie's
was
not
very
bad.
cool.
I mean, Ariana's Ariana.
Right. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people have said it's not bad.
Yeah.
Some people said, eh. Others have said, oh, no, it was great.
I mean, for an adaptation for a musical, it's done really well so far. I am reserving judgment until the second half comes out
Oh, yeah, I've heard there's another half
because they
coming out.
split it in two.
Yeah. So interesting. I've read the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying, but every time it's dense.
It's very dense. Yes.
And every time I'm like, okay, I think I can sit down and read it, and then I just lose interest.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay. No, I enjoyed the book. And I did like the play, but mostly because I just love live theater. And if you're singing at me, I'm okay, you know?
"Well, you could be talking about corpses, and
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
as long as you're in a major key, it sounds happy.
Exactly. I hear they're doing a live version, like live people, of The Corpse Bride.
Really?
I've heard that. Now, whether it's truth or not,
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
I just saw a Johnny Depp movie of Neverland.
Yes.
Great movie. I'd forgotten how great it was.
Yep.
Watched it.
I haven't watched that one in a while.
Yeah, it was it's an older one. Not like black and white older. I'm not that old. Well, I am actually, but
But it's funny though, because when you say older, and I remember watching like an early 2000s movie recently, and I'm like, is this in the freaking 90s? Because the tech
yeah, isn't quite there yet.
isn't quite there yet. So you're like, this feels like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, you can feel it when it's like that way, right?
Yeah. And then I'm like pleasantly wrong. I'm like, oh, early 2000s. I should really not be judging anything.
Exactly right. Oh my goodness. Now we were talking about endings, but there's also beginnings.
Oh, the pages. No,
No,
aces.
Aces. Yep, you got it right there. I knew you
I
meant
saw
aces.
the swords and I was gonna say, oh my gosh. Anyway, don't let me talk.
But aces are just doors opening. And a lot of times you can draw an extra card if you want to see where it's going. Where does it, like, okay, the door is open. What's happening next? And we've got the Ace of Swords, Wands, Cups, and I love the Ace of Pentacles in this deck. It's a beautiful,
Oh, that is gorgeous.
isn't it gorgeous? It's just beautiful. It's like a new door is opening and it's money related. Why, yes, please, let me walk through. So that's a lot of beginnings. Now, this isn't really an ending, but it is experience.
Okay.
You know, like it's not, like the kings tend to represent older, experienced
Energy.
energy. You know, it's not their first rodeo, right? Kind of thing. They're giving advice, and they know to only give it when asked. Unsolicited advice falls on deaf ears. Don't throw your pearls before pigs, kind of thing, right? But we often, when we give advice unsolicited, we do it because of our own ego, not because we have these pearls of wisdom. But the kings are often, they're the master of that suit. And they show up a lot of the times when you are the master and you might need to be reminded you're good at what you do at your job, because wands often have to do with jobs and careers and things. Or if you need to refocus and master the next level of whatever it is, whether there's training or upgrade or some promotion that you can get at work. What do you need to do that? Don't just sit on your hiney and go, okay, I'm good at what I do and here I go, kind of thing. Always be a student of life,
Well, I think that's wise, because then you're not gonna that ego's not gonna get in your way.
Yeah. If you keep the student mentality, which is the fool's mentality, by the way, is being the sponge for learning new ways of doing things, learning new concepts, just being open to learning, right? Because your way's not always the right way. Yes, as a king, you're probably bringing a lot of experience to whatever subject that might be, but kings know when to be humble too. And that's what makes for a good king. And I'm talking about energy, not gender, because gender's fluid in tarot. So we've got the king of money. Who doesn't want to be the king of money, right?
Make it rain.
Make it rain, baby. And he's in a tree.
Is he?
Yeah.
I love that.
So he's got
He is in a tree
a double tree that's kind of grafting together.
to support the throne.
Yeah, to support the throne. You know, because he knows in order to have money, you have to have a good foundation. You can't just willy-nilly it. Now, speaking of moving foundations, we've got the King of Cups. He's the King of Hearts, relationships, the King of Communication, you know, that sort of thing. That's what he covers. So sometimes when he shows up, it means, you know, it's time to have that hard conversation with someone, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a relative, a partner, whatever it might be. And it's also sort of like, yeah, you have to have that hard conversation, but you're capable of doing it. So you're not sort of given a cross you can't bear kind of thing. And, you know, conversations can be some of the hardest things for people to do, whether it's asking for a raise or telling someone they have BO really bad. I had to have that conversation with one of my employees, and it was very, very hard to do.
Yup.
Yep.
I was gonna say most millennials can't make phone calls.
Yeah. That's another conversation. This was a face to face.
More with like appointment based phone calls.
Yes. Yeah. I sometimes count myself in the millennial pack only because I don't like doing phone calls. My clients get to know, don't call me because I won't answer the phone. Text me, message me. I'll get back to you much faster that way. But yeah, I used to be okay making phone calls. I've had jobs making phone calls. I was the Kirby vacuum cleaner person that called you.
I don't like cold calling. Like if there's a reason why I'm calling you, like, hey, appointment reminders, that's not a problem.
Right.
But when I'm like, hey, you came in to visit our establishment, just following up if you want a membership, no.
Well, what's even worse is when I did my cold call for Kirby vacuum cleaners, I was doing it right out of the phone book. So they hadn't entered a draw, they hadn't expressed any interest. It was just, you literally were given a pen, a ruler, and the phone book and a sheet to make notes of when they wanted their appointments. It was true cold calling.
Yeah, no, thank you.
It was hard. It was very hard.
I know how interruptive, that's not a word.
Well, people don't even like phone calls even back then, unsolicited.
Right? Like if your
know.
grandma's calling, yeah, sure, answer the phone.
Yeah.
But if it's some person that just wants to be like, hey, how's your duct cleaning going?
Yeah.
No one wants that.
And you know the best time we got paid extra to do it?
Dinner
Time.
Yeah.
And people hate to be interrupted at dinner time. 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock because people are usually sitting down watching TV at 7.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then they get pissed off because you've interrupted their favorite show. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Was the paycheck at least good?
Oh, it was like more than double what the minimum wage was.
Okay.
So it was good bank, but I couldn't stand it. My mental state was not good.
Oh yeah, no.
And
you would just
and
get yelled at.
you were in a windowless room. So it was me and another girl were in the office together.
No,
And it was
couldn't
just
do
a
it.
bare desk with a phone and, you know, your phone book and stuff. It was very depressing. I think I don't think I even made it a month before I was like, yeah, I'm done.
You could have showed me the room and I would have been like, I'm out. Too bad.
And it was back when you still could smoke indoors. And she was a smoker.
And you weren't.
And I was a social smoker, but
Yeah.
I didn't carry a pack of smokes on me or anything. So yeah, today you'd think I was a smoker the way I'm graveling. But
That would have killed me. Like,
Yeah.
I understand the concept of being a social smoker, and I have relatives who like smoke like it's their job.
yeah,
I don't know how else to describe that. So like, I kind of get it, but I don't.
yeah. I couldn't. I've never been able to smoke like chain smoke. I couldn't do that.
Well, I
Like, my
find it
mom
interesting.
did that.
So I find it interesting. So I dated a smoker at one point. So there'd be
Mm.
times where like he'd be like, "Here, hold that for me," and to this day, normally it's if I have a pen in my hand.
Oh, okay.
If I'm carrying something,
Yeah.
like a cup, and then like doing this,
You'll be
is
holding it like a
natural.
cigarette.
I'll
Yeah.
hold it, and I don't smoke. But because on the off chance, maybe 10 times in my life, I have held a cigarette for somebody
Right.
while they needed to go do something.
Right. Oh my God, my
it's
dad would
still
just put it in
there.
their mouth and still do the
Yeah,
thing.
but I just find that like that just shows how powerful behavior and like habit forming is. Because I
Yeah.
think the huge part about
quitting smoking is breaking the habit.
Yeah, the oral fixation,
Yeah.
as they say. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And you know what's interesting is like, and it was friends that introduced me to this when Joey was going for an acting job and he had to smoke.
Yeah.
And then Chandler was teaching him how to smoke, and he was so right. I can tell sometimes actors that are just acting smoking as opposed to smoking.
Yep.
It's like, you're not a real smoker. I'm not buying that at all.
Oh, that's funny. I love that episode.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Friends references all the way. And you're right though, because you can tell when someone's like going through the motions with something.
Yeah, it's like,
or they've naturally.
It's like, that's
Done
not
it.
how people smoke. Stop
Yeah.
doing it like that.
I remember we had to like now that you're taking me back to like grade 10 drama, because we had like 3 distinct personalities to choose like monologues from.
Yeah, okay.
And one of them was that like, leave me alone and let me smoke my way. Whatever,
okay.
Right?
Yep,
And I'm
yep.
just like, which one did I do? I don't even remember. I remember other people performing them, but I don't remember which one I did.
Oh, okay.
That's high school for you.
Oh, too funny, too funny. Yeah, so we thought this was a good way to end the school year.
End the school year, and wishing all of our graduates, if you're graduating just on to the next year, or you're taking that big leap from like elementary to high school, or high school to college, university, and or other destinations, like just enjoy your summer and have a safe and happy time.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay, check us out on social media. Type in Goddess Garage, you'll find us. This is Kayla, I'm Rhonda, and yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for being here.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Nope. Sorry, guys. There we go.